Barry Fait. I live in Colorado, but the plane is based in a little airport called Flabob, right next to Riverside, California. It was manufactured, rolled off the Long Beach assembly line on September 23rd, 1943, and shortly thereafter it found its way to England. It was based at Barkston Heath, and that's where a bunch of training missions, but her first combat mission was D-Day. And so I found her about 7 or 8 years ago, and we ferried her. I'd actually ferried, but we flew her back from Florida back to California, and it wasn't long thereafter. I got a couple phone calls from some people that said, "Do you know what you have?" I go, "Yeah, it's a DC-3. She says, "No, do you know what you have?" "Well, a DC-3, no. It's so they started cluing me in a little bit the history of it. So a plane by itself is just that. The serial number on these things, like this one's 33-30647, they all have a number like that. If you put a 4 in front of it, that tells you when the purchase order basically was let, 43. But so they all get that, but then typically they get assigned to a squadron. So that's what the insignia on this one is. It's the X5. So that was the 59th Squadron. And that, along with 3 other squadrons, made up the 61st Troop Carrier Group. And that group on D-Day was assigned Mission Boston, and their mission was to bring in the 82nd Airborne. Mission Albany was the 101st Airborne, and for reasons I don't know, we're just guessing because it was a brand new airplane. The colonel that was in charge of the 61st, 72 ships, picked this one to lead that group that morning, and they actually got a citation. They're one of the few groups that pretty much dropped all their guys off where they belong. You know, of all the drop zones, there was really only 1 or 2 that got set up right, and they found the drop zone and did their job. And leaving the area, the colonel got hit. He actually got his Purple Heart. Not too bad. He got a wounded hand or something, and so that was her indoctrination to combat on D-Day. She was grounded for a little while they fixed the bullet holes, and she was doing resupply, and we really haven't done too much research post D-Day yet. I know she was in Market Garden and Varsity and a couple others. She towed gliders at Market Garden, and but really haven't dived in too much yet into post D-Day history. We've done a lot of work up to and through D-Day, but after that, not a lot. So we've just been lucky to fly her around. We just painted her a couple years ago. We found a picture of her from that time frame, and with Virginia Ann on it. We didn't know what that was or anything. And so last year when we came to Oshkosh, we had heard through the grapevine from the year before, we stopped for fuel at a place in South Yankton, South Dakota. Come to find out, that's where this family is from that named it Virginia Ann. So last year on the way to Oshkosh, we got in touch with him, and unfortunately the captain that flew it and his wife are gone, but his wife was Virginia Ann. So that's how it got named that way. But we met the 3 kids who were my age, and grandkids and great grandkids, and that was pretty special. That was on the way to Oshkosh last year. So that we had that picture, so we painted her up 2 years ago, so she at least looks the part. You know, she's long since lost her C-47 stuff. She doesn't have the floor, the big barn doors, and still has the gear, of course. They all have that. But so inside, it's a totally different beast than it was in 43. Yeah, it's all due to that. No 2 DC-3s are alike anymore. One point in time, they're all alike. None of them are now.
Thank you for watching. If you're looking for something to do, or you are traveling through Milwaukee Mitchell International Airport, stop by the Mitchell Gallery of Flight for some aviation history.